All right, off we go. It's the Ryan Hartson Show on BWC Internet Radio. I'm Ryan Hartson. No JMFPSP again this week. Quick programming note, just because, well, all the scheduling. Tim's busy. I'm busy. Corey's busy. Corey kind of obsolete, but one way or the other. No JMFPSP this weekend. As we move into next week, the Ryan Hartson Show is going to kind of take the forefront. This program is going to take the forefront. I'm going to try to do as many NBA playoff updates as I can throughout the playoffs. And then we'll meet up for JMFPSP. But there's still a bracket wager that we owe. We'll make sure we get that taken care of at some point. I'll make sure that me, Corey, and Tim, we all three of us have equally agreed our brackets were so bad that all three of us are going to eat liver on the air. My dad's going to prepare it. He'll come on. He'll talk about it. It'll be real nice. We're going to try to make it as entertaining as possible. So me, Tim, and Corey will all eat liver because we agreed our brackets were just absolutely atrocious. So that's how the NCAA tournament bracket wager comes to an end. So good stuff. Now we switch gears into the NBA playoffs, where me and Corey are going to split up the load here as far as previewing the NBA playoffs are concerned. I'm going to take the Eastern Conference, and I'm going to break down the Eastern Conference as much as I can. Now, Corey, if you're listening to me, listen very carefully. With breaking down the Eastern Conference, I'm going to break down each series, and then I'm going to pick who I think is going to come out of the East eventually. I'm going to pick all the series, and then I'm going to pick who I think comes out of the conference eventually. Now, hopefully Corey listens to this before he does his own preview. I'm hoping that he'll do the same thing. I'm going to go through each series. I'm going to tell you what I think about it. Then I'm going to pick the series, and once we're done with the 4 series, then I'll move on, and I'll be picking who I think is going to come out of that conference. And who Corey thinks will come out of the West, and who I think will come out of the East, will be our joint BWC, joint NBA Finals pick. And I guess we'll just kind of debate who we think's going to win the finals at that point, but really all of that's hypothetical and meaningless. Let's get to some actual hard series here. Eastern Conference all year, it's been the better conference, in my opinion. It's been a more entertaining conference, in my opinion. All the way around, it's just been, the Eastern Conference has just been better. When you think, but both conferences really have 3 teams that can win the title. And in the East, I think the East has, of all the teams in the playoffs are really good this year. It's kind of strange because usually you get some bad teams in the NBA playoffs. Really not this year. The talent in the NBA has really gone up recently, and that's good to see that these teams coming together. Really, all these players joining forces, Miami joining forces, New York joining forces. Really, you've created more great teams as opposed to what we thought, which would be less competitive teams. Instead, you've got 6 teams that can win the title, as opposed to only 2 or 3 teams that can win the title, which has been the case the last few years, really. So, let's start. Playoff matchups are as follows. Bulls as the 1 seed, best record in the NBA, taking on the Pacers. The Heat, the 2 seed, taking on the 7 seed, Philadelphia 76ers. The 4, Orlando Magic, against the 5, Atlanta Hawks. And, of course, the Boston Celtics against the New York Knicks. All 4 series are interesting for different reasons. I'll start with the Bulls and the Pacers. This series is going to go by pretty quick. However, you do have Danny Granger and Tyler Hansbrough starting to make some progress. So you think that the Pacers are going to be getting better slowly as time goes on. The Pacers are in an interesting position this year. But I think Derrick Rose, along with the great defense that they play, is going to be more than enough for the Bulls to take care of the Indiana Pacers, you would think, in a sweep. So I'm going to take the Bulls in a sweep there. Not really a lot to talk about except Derrick Rose is the MVP of the league. Tom Thibodeau is the coach of the year, and they're just going to spank the Pacers, I think, in this series. One that has maybe a little more excitement than you would think, the Heat and the Sixers. Obviously, you got LeBron, D-Wade, and Chris Bosh in their first playoff series together. The 76ers have had an interesting run. Doug Collins, who was a great player and a great coach. He was part of Jordan's Bulls as the head coach. He got canned, and Phil Jackson came in, and they won 6 titles. but Doug Collins was a good coach, and he's been a good coach in other places as well. And now he's with the Sixers, and it's looking pretty good. I mean, they had a really tough start, and now they're kind of starting to battle back, and they play well together, which is, Miami actually had a problem with that this year with all the new moving parts. I think this game's going to be a little more interesting than people think, and it's going to be the Heat in 5. Like you would think it's just going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. No, the Sixers are going to be able to snag a game, and I think that makes for an interesting series. I think the Heat, what's it going to be like, the Heat losing that first playoff game? And I think it'll make for an interesting challenge. I'll take the Heat in 5. So Bulls in a sweep, Heat in 5. Let's move to the 4-5 matchup now. Magic, Hawks. Interesting, kind of interesting. Do you think Atlanta wants to come out and play well against the Magic after getting spanked in the first round last year? But Dwight Howard, I mean, the Magic are a great team. You got Dwight Howard. You got all those shooters. The Magic, they don't have as much talent as they did a few years ago when they went to the finals, but Dwight Howard and the shooters, I think, is enough to get past the Hawks and move on. So, and I'm going to say that's going to be a tough series. I'm going to take the Magic in 6. I think the Hawks are going to make a serious run at them. I think it's going to be a pretty physical series as well. I'll take the I'll take the Magic in 6. So I'm taking chalk so far, Bulls in 4, Heat in 5, and the Magic in 6. And now really the series of the NBA playoffs. This is the best series of the first round. Knicks-Celtics. New York, interesting. I mean, this seems more like a conference final matchup. Instead, it's a first round matchup, considering you got Carmelo Anthony and Amari Stoudemire, as well as this great Celtics team that's been around for so long. And all of a sudden you get rid of Kendrick Perkins, and maybe they don't have as much great size as we thought they did. Maybe this isn't the team we thought they were. I think that's a load of crap. I think they're an elite team that turns it around playoff time. I think the guys that have been there before, in Rondo, Pierce, Garnett, and Allen, and Big Baby Davis in there as well. I think this is a great team that knows how to turn it on, but the Knicks are going to give them a run for their money. Look for Carmelo Anthony and Amari Stoudemire to score a ton of points in this one, but they don't play defense, and Boston does. I think the Celtics are going to defend the Knicks extremely well. I think the Knicks are going to have, at times, they're going to find it hard to score points, and I think that's really where the Celtics have the advantage, obviously, is defensively, being the best defensive team in the league last year. So I'll take the Celtics to beat the Knicks in 6 games. Again, the Celtics to beat the Knicks in 6 games. I think the Celtics just have way too much for the Knicks to handle. The Knicks are going to make it extremely interesting because they've got all that new talent. Chauncey Billups, the point guard, as well, key. So it's an interesting series. I think the Celtics get it done in 6 games and move on. Again, I like the Bulls in a sweep. Miami in 5, Orlando in 6, Boston in 6. This is a very interesting first round of the playoffs in a great Eastern Conference. So I'm really looking forward to these games tomorrow and Sunday. I think it's going to be this is going to be an exciting first round, maybe the most exciting first round we've had in a while. All right, so those are the playoff series. Really quick, I'll do an NBA champion, or not an NBA champion, just a conference champion. When there's a lot of different factors to look at who you think can win a conference. Bulls, it's Derrick Rose and a bunch of guys that defend but can't necessarily score. Joakim Noah, Luol Deng, Carlos Boozer, Kyle Korver's a great shooter. I'm not sure what they can do in a 7-game series. I know Rose is going to be there, but I don't know that the supporting cast will. I don't feel good about their supporting cast. I don't feel good about Noah. I don't feel good about Deng or Korver. I don't feel good about Boozer even. He's kind of injury prone. He hasn't shown up in the playoffs all the time when he was in Utah. So I just don't know about the Bulls. I don't know if they have the talent that Boston and Miami do. Well, they probably have as much talent as Miami does. Miami, it's the 3 guys and a bunch of other guys that you don't know. But with the Bulls, it's Derrick Rose and a bunch of guys that, but are they really that good? And I'm not going to buy into the Bulls. I don't think they're going to win it. Can they get to the conference finals? Absolutely, as long as they seeding's kind of weird. Is it possible? Yeah. If seed holds, No. If seed holds, they wouldn't get one of the other two great teams in the conference until the conference final. So they can absolutely get to the conference final. But I think Dwight Howard would be a problem for them in the second round. So I don't even know if they're going to get to the conference final. I don't feel good about the Bulls like everybody else does. So just kind of watch out. I'm telling everyone else, don't feel as good about the Bulls as you do. I'm concerned about them. And it's a shame because I think Derrick Rose is a great player and that he needs a better cast. He needs better people around him. I don't see the people this year. I don't see the people that everybody else does. I think all of you that think the Bulls are this loaded, talented team, I just don't see it. I see Derrick Rose and a bunch of guys that aren't that good. Yeah, they defend like hell, and that's extremely valuable in the playoffs. But can they score the points that LeBron James and Dwayne Wade can? I don't see that at all. That said, Miami can absolutely get out. They don't have an inside presence. They just don't have an inside presence. They don't. If they run into Dwight Howard in the conference final, which very well could happen, Dwight Howard will tear them up inside, and then they'll get so focused on Dwight Howard inside that the shooters on the outside, Jameer Nelson, Hedo Turkoglu, will just tear them apart from behind the arc. So I like Miami getting to at least the conference final. Can they get out? Yeah. I don't think they have enough this year. I think they need to get healthy, and then they'll have an opportunity. I think next year is the big year for the Heat. They should be the absolute favorite to win the title going into next year. But right now, maybe. It's a tough maybe. The team I like, of course, is the Boston Celtics. I think the Boston Celtics are going to make it out of the East. I think they're a great team. I think they're going to have enough size, and they got a great point guard. They have great scoring with Paul Pierce. They have just enough size with Garnett and Big Baby to get it done, and they've got a great, arguably the greatest shooter of all time in Ray Allen. So I think they've got all the pieces are there for the Celtics. I think they'll be able to gel in the playoffs. They're going to have to beat the Knicks, number one. Then they'll have to beat either the Heat and the Bulls or the Heat and the Magic to get to the finals. I think they can do it. I think they're going to be able to take these teams. I think they've got too much for Miami, way too much for Chicago. I like the Celtics getting out of the Eastern Conference and going to the NBA Finals to play whoever Corey thinks they're going to play. So there you go. There's my Eastern Conference preview. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Corey with the Western Conference at some point. It might be up by now. I'd have to look, but good stuff as always. I really I enjoy the NBA. The NBA is my second favorite sport. NBA playoffs are the best thing in sports. So enjoy that. Ryan Hartson show updates whenever I feel like it throughout the next few weeks as business starts to pick back up in the sports calendar. Good stuff. It's the Ryan Hartson Show on BWC Internet Radio.